He knocked me over. I landed on the dog bowl.
This one's wife. You, the haters. You're the real problem. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. This one's wife certainly has plenty of detractors, and with good reason. Some of her detractors criticise her for reasons which really have no basis in reality. They have a particular view about her, and they criticise her in a manner which isn't actually linked to anything credible. Those people exist, but they're not huge in number. The much larger group are those that see the actual evidence and criticise her appropriately for her behaviour. They don't invent things. They simply see how she behaves, and they understand what that means. They recognise that she's a narcissist, or they just simply see that she is an unpleasant person, and they don't like the way that she behaves. For some individuals, they don't like the way that she treated Her Majesty, the late Queen Elizabeth II, or Prince Philip. They don't like the way that she's treated her father, or her half-siblings. They don't like the way that she took an opportunity and messed it up, in the sense of she was given immense privilege and turned her back on it. They may not like the way that she's treated Prince Harry. It may be the case that they don't like the way that she has no real talent but has been given repeated opportunities to make a huge amount of money, and they simply regard that as unfair. Some people will find that her use of the race card is offensive and unnecessary. It's certainly the case that this one's wife provides you with plenty of different reasons as to why you might not like her. Regularly, it's thrown in the face of those that do dislike her, you're jealous, when of course they mean you're envious. Although that is just a standard stock response which has no actual credibility. Another is to suggest that the person is racist, but this has been said so many times in circumstances where again it has no applicability that it's really been worn out. It's also suggested you don't know her. Well, that's true for many people, but you can certainly still make an assessment of that individual because you can see so much of the behaviour recorded, filmed, photographed and written about, and people are allowed to advance an opinion. Now, it's certainly the case that there are some people that comment about this one's wife, and they do so in a way whereby you've got to wonder quite why she has got under their skin. I know of one prominent commentator who on a daily basis tweets about her nothing more really than insults and pointing out the latest act of chicanery. You wonder if that person needs to go and lie down and calm down, because quite why she gets under her skin to the degree that she does, so that she's left name-calling this person, is rather strange. You'd almost think it was personal between her and this one's wife. For many others, however, it's done in a way which is perhaps to entertain by ridiculing and parodying her. In other instances, people's detraction of her is based upon more serious grounds, that they believe that she's interfering with the freedom of speech. They believe that she's engaged in money laundering or other criminal activity. For me, as you know, it's all about providing you with entertaining education vis-à-vis her narcissism, from time to time taking the mickey out of her, but using her as a walking and talking, living and breathing example of a narcissist in action who is very well known and displays a range of narcissistic behaviours to expand people's understanding of what she is and narcissism in general. She has her supporters too, but there are plenty of detractors, and these detractors are not gratuitous in their criticism of this one's wife. It's considered, invariably articulated properly. It's not just ad hominem attacks against her. It's done on the basis of evidence to demonstrate why her behaviour merits criticism. That is a problem for this one's wife. It's a problem because it's correct. It's a problem because it's true. As you know, her narcissism will not countenance that because it amounts to a threat to her control. She cannot accept that your criticism of her is justified, and therefore that means that you are viewed as the problem. You are viewed as the racist. You are viewed as the hater. Ordinary dislike suddenly becomes amplified into blind hatred of her. As I said, there are some individuals that do exhibit that, but the vast majority just exhibit contempt, dislike for this one's wife, again based on the evidence. But what invariably occurs is the necessity of trying to label these individuals as being the actual problem. This is classic behaviour of a narcissist. Rather than take accountability for their own shortcomings and poor behaviour, which, as you know, a narcissist will never do, the narcissist instead operates from this perspective. I've not done anything wrong, you're the problem. In essence, your face collided with my fist. I didn't hit you, your face got in the way. You are the problem. This is done time and time again by the narcissist. It is done to nullify the threat to control, to maintain the superiority of the narcissist, to provoke for the provision of fuel, and naturally to ensure that all-important control is obtained. And this one's wife has organs such as HuffPost, continuing to pump out the narrative that she isn't the problem, it's all of you lot out there. The article, which is written by Emily Bond, states, "In case you're not privy to certain corners of the internet, there are Reddit groups, Facebook posts, and endless other platforms that feature endless snark about this one's wife, who recently let the world know she's Meghan Sussex now. One could call it snarkle. This one's wife, whether she likes it or not, has become a divisive pop culture icon. She has been ruthlessly critiqued by the British press, stalked by paparazzi, dragged publicly by her own half-sister, and now continues to be mocked online for her choice of fluffing eggs with sparkling water on her new Netflix series. But is she Wallis Simpson reincarnated, hell-bent on dismantling the British royal family? Or is she a victim of racism who is being attacked simply because she fell for a spare prince? Are people just jealous, you mean envious, of the linen-clad beauty? Or was it bad timing to launch a rich lifestyle show so detached from the economic and political reality we're currently in? Do the online anti-this-one's-wife posters just not like her? And is that enough of a reason to troll the mum of two? We did some digging to get to the bottom of things. With her new Netflix show already renewed for a second season, well, part 2 of season 1 as we all know, this one's wife is facing a remarkable wave of judgment. Ambivalent online posts, if they exist, are outnumbered by thousands if not millions about her beauty and generosity. Well, is that accurate? Is this an exaggeration? As well as less flattering posts full of eye-roll emojis and adjectives like disingenuous, liar, and so on. Since her royal wedding to Prince Harry, she remains a polarising figure. A subreddit with 70,000 followers, Saint This One's Wife, is Peak This One's Wife Snarkle, with the page dedicated to her supposed lies, plagiarism, and personal shortcomings. But it also has a list of rules about posting. Civility is expected, no post about the kids, and no racism, sexism, or other forms of bigotry. Saint This One's Wife posters share memes, parody videos, and even point out Games of Thrones levels of production blunders in This One's Wife's show, like an accidentally exposed bag of popcorn from Whole Foods, while This One's Wife shows viewers how to pop corn straight off a cob via a paper bag. It's hard not to get their point when the bagged kernels are right there. Commenters descended on the popcorn post, one Reddit account writing, "As ever, a phony." While another added, "Damn, imagine being so unlikable that producers won't even cover for you." One commentator quipped, "Knowing of her devious and manipulative behaviour in the past, I would not hesitate to believe she did." Where is all of this coming from? First, keep this in mind. Psychologist Elizabeth Hines believes the online trolling reveals more about this one's wife's critics than about her. Now let's pause there. So far, this article has identified criticism, not hate, criticism. And it's picked on one particular subreddit, which I have made reference to, as I always credit them with regard to information that I use for the purpose of explaining more about narcissism, and recognise that the comment that they made with regard to the popcorn did indeed seem legitimate. And yet, this article immediately rolls out a psychologist, presumably to provide credibility, and immediately makes the judgment that criticism equates to trolling. No, it doesn't. To my mind, trolling is a gratuitous attack upon somebody that has no actual basis. Critiquing someone is the use of evidence to form a view about someone's behaviour or actions, and then explaining why you don't accept them, why they're wrong, and so forth. It isn't gratuitous. It's based on evidence. But notice immediately how this article makes the shift from taking what is a legitimate criticism about this one's wife and lumping it in with trolling as a whole, which has a more pejorative connotation of being an illegitimate approach to dealing with somebody. This psychologist states, public figures, especially women, function as representations of our individual beliefs and experiences, along with our personal biases. Because this one's wife confronts conventional beliefs about race, gender roles, and power dynamics, does she? Does she? She's always held herself out as white and has only latterly played the race card. Gender roles, she's been content to piggyback off men all through her life. And the only power dynamic she operates in is not one where she's in the weaker position, but one where she is the narcissist manipulating people. So she's not confronting conventional beliefs. But notwithstanding this bold and incorrect assertion, this psychologist explains she inspires admiration from some individuals, yet makes others feel threatened. This is a complete lack of understanding of why people criticise this one's wife. They don't feel threatened by her. They know that she's not in their lives. They know she's not going to come knocking on the door and say, "Why have you been saying this about me?" They know that she's not going to affect their lives in any meaningful way. They just look at the way that she behaves and they don't like it for the reasons that I explained at the beginning of this video. But this is another attempt by a pro this one's wife outlet to illegitimize the criticism which is legitimate of this one's wife, to suggest that the people that are doing it are, one, trolls, that they're only doing it because they feel threatened, and they're only doing it because this one's wife confronts conventional beliefs about race, gender roles, and power dynamics. Wrong, wrong, and wrong. Hines added, when we judge public figures, it often reveals our personal fears and insecurities, along with areas that need our growth. No. When we judge public figures, it's simply the fact that people apply their moral compass to the behaviour of people that often think they're better than the people that pay them, and they are therefore justified in expressing an opinion based on the evidence. The article continues, however, there are some valid reasons viewers may feel triggered by her persona at this particular time in 2025. This one's wife gushes over the fresh eggs from her personal chicken coop in several episodes while grocery bills across the country continue to climb. The Marie Antoinette comparisons were inevitable, especially when the cost of eggs is cracking, boom boom, an already fragile economy. And it's not just the eggs. It's the fruit platters and crudité plate after crudité plate. One glaring issue critics point out is the insulated privilege of the show. In the second episode, this one's wife arranges berries for a made-up children's party, then goes on to explain what it all is. It's sweet, but for some parents it's unrelatable. This one's wife, ever gorgeous, is dressed in both high and low price points. Her pants are from Zara, but her sweater is from Loro Piana. Unfortunately for this one's wife, if you're wearing pants from Zara, but a crewneck sweater from Loro Piana retailing at £1,825, one doesn't cancel the other out. The wealth disparity, coupled with the price of raspberries, is jarring for most average households right now. A commentator from Yahoo Life wrote, "She really has no clue. Look at me in my expensive clothes, cooking with famous people. So obnoxious. Does she think the designers will throw her a bone for announcing that? Everything about her is to put on airs. Normal people cooking would wear sneakers, jeans, and a t-shirt under their apron." Yet, even if the present economic woes of most Americans make her show feel out of place, this one's wife describes herself at one point on the show as a latchkey kid with divorced parents. What irks some people isn't that she's inauthentic or seems disconnected, but that she's a black woman who is living a comfortable and relaxed life. No, that is a massive leap of false logic. What irks most people is that she's inauthentic, because she claims that she's a latchkey kid when people know that she's not. That she claims that she had this poor upbringing, when in actual fact she had a rather privileged upbringing, courtesy of her father. But it's much more convenient to say, oh, no, she is authentic. The reason you criticise her is because you don't like the fact that she's a black woman who is living a comfortable and relaxed life. Wrong. People don't like her. Nothing to do with her being black. Indeed, most people be hard-pressed to see that she is even black. The fact is, it continues by saying, this one's wife continues to face both clear or more subtle displays of racism, except it's not. Her critics can't force her into a stereotype or life they think she should have. It then goes back to the Daily Mail with the almost straight out of Compton description. It then describes a slew of racist headlines leading up to the royal wedding, ranging from a British reporter referring to her DNA as exotic. That's not racist, it's just a description. And post-pitting this one's wife and Catherine, Princess of Wales, against one another. Attempting to claim that one of these women is more aligned with the British royal family than the other displays subtle but clear racism. But it doesn't. What it means is there is one whose behaviours and her upbringing mean she's more suited to being in the royal family than the other, who doesn't really have an appreciation of the protocols, and she's a narcissist, therefore is problematic. It's nothing to do with race. Other TikToks attempting to catch this one's wife in lies really just show a group of people unable to comprehend a woman who has grown up with varying experiences. Or could it actually be what it is? They're finding a person who regularly lies. She could have eaten fast food as a child and have benefited from more organic options in her home state of California. They're looking for cracks in her character because seeing her as something other than what they narrowly comprehend a woman should be, particularly a black woman, is uncomfortable for some of her critics. Again, no. This article is attempting to suggest that everything is about being envious of this one's wife and that it's racism. It's a piss-poor attempt that insults the intelligence of people and fails to actually recognise what the problem is. This one's wife, and that she is a narcissist. It is not racism. I've said before, there have been instances of racist behaviour towards her. It would be churlish and ridiculous to suggest it has not. But what they are doing is suggesting that when you call her a liar because, guess what, she lies, that's actually because you have a problem dealing with comprehending an image of what she should be. That when you point out that her show is rubbish, it's because you're envious of her. That when you point out how she doesn't read the room, it's as a consequence of your subtle and innate racism. This is ridiculous. And this article's attempt to nullify a threat to control on behalf of this one's wife by suggesting that you are the haters and that you are the real problem in all of this is a classic narcissistic manipulation of blaming the victims rather than taking accountability. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.